So my name's Justin Cook. I'm a consultant cardiologist here at Chesterfield, and one of my roles, which I've had really since fairly soon after starting here, is as clinical research lead. And in that context, I've been involved in recruiting to a lot of clinical trials in cardiovascular medicine since I've been here. There are lots of reasons. There's a personal one, which I'm sure we'll come to. In all modern medicine, and cardiovascular medicine particularly, actually being involved in clinical research gives one a much better understanding of the clinical research you're interpreting when you're talking to a patient. So in that respect, it just makes me a more effective practitioner. I think there's a personal story, the personal connection. So when I came up here in 2002, early 2002, with my family, my wife, and my 4 young children. We'd been here for about 3 or 4 weeks when my youngest child, who was 3 at the time, became very, very unwell. This little girl, she woke up with a rash called a purpuric rash, and Kim, my wife, and I just knew straight away what was likely to be going on, and then just a few hours later we were sitting in the Sheffield Children's Hospital with now Professor AJ Vora, telling us that our daughter had leukemia, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. On that day, actually, we were asked if we would enrol Harriet into a clinical trial, and on the basis of what we knew, we didn't have much hesitation. If you look back at the history of acute lymphoblastic leukemia, ALL, if I'd had it in 1967 at the same age, my 1-year survival would have been a few percent. Nearly all the children died fairly quickly because there were no treatments. It's shocking though it was, and brutal the next 2 or 3 years were, especially for Harriet and especially for my wife, who kind of took the brunt of all the hard work. We could be assured by AJ Vora that the great likelihood there was that Harriet would survive, and really the survival now for ALL is well over 90%. And not only is the survival good, but actually the long-term effects of all that treatment are much less than they were previously. And I kind of so now after my 22 years later, I have this wonderful human being who's my daughter, who kind of speaks French and Arabic and has just got such a rich life ahead of her. And that's on the back of thousands and thousands of people. So that sort of comes on the back of thousands of doctors, nurses putting people into trials, and very particularly that comes on the back of thousands and thousands of parents like us saying yes to people like Dr. Vora, and saying, taking that risk. It's not an easy thing to do. But even if what we do just chips away at the various things we're involved in clinical research in, and just makes people's, the potential for just little improvements, little bits, changes where treatment, end up people doing better. That's great. So that's the sort of personal motivation for what drives me. Heart failure, incidentally, is another driver for me doing research. Is that I do a lot of my work is heart failure, and when I qualified a long time ago, 1989, people with heart failure, there was not much you could do. You could make them a bit better, but outcome was pretty poor. And I've just been privileged, lucky enough as a practitioner to live through an era when just fairly simple, just medication treatments, 1-2 other things, but one thing after another has happened in terms of clinical trials. Now, every now and again, I'm driving home through Chesterfield, and there's one particular person I can think of who I just see walking down the street, and I can remember seeing him 20 years ago thinking, oh, this is bad. And he's been the beneficiary of all those things, and there he is. I think the most, if anything, it's just for anybody in the public, in the clinical staff here, everybody to just view research as an unalloyed good, because it is. The experience for patients is good. Every patient who goes into a clinic and is offered a treatment that we know works is benefiting from the research that's gone on in the past. So I think just that perception of it being an utterly positive thing. I think for us, I think Chesterfield, this hospital, it's a local hospital, it's a friendly hospital, it's a family, it's a very embedded in the local community. It's one of the joys of working in this hospital that, what can go to one ward and there's someone over there, go to another ward, and that's her daughter working on that ward. That's one of the great joys about Chesterfield. So in the last financial year, we've had a little under 2,000 people in 45 studies. Not all of those require people to come up to here on a regular basis. Some of them are just single samples or questionnaires, or single sort of less intensive studies where we just started getting data. But it's just under 2,000, and really, we'd like more. We would like to at least double that. And when we, as example for the study I referred to, the senior reader, that's not been published yet, but when that is published, and there we are, that Chesterfield is named on the thing as a big recruiter, and like, wait, little old Chesterfield, we did that. Well done, North Derbyshire, we did that. And that makes me quite sort of proud of here.